Spot, Spot, a lovable Spot. He's soft and cuddly and...
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle!
Today, we're talking about a character that has many of you asking, wait, who the hell is that? That's because, just to change things up a little, we're not looking at a character from the original toy line, but rather one from 2003.
Now, before you go running to the comments, Half the Battle will remain focused on the original stuff. This is just a nice little diversion.
So meet Red Spot. This figure was released in 2003 with all original body parts and was part of the Spy Troops line. Now, first impressions, I'm sorry to say, aren't that good for two reasons. First, there's his color scheme, which is dominated by this mustardy yellow. It makes him look sickly and makes the toy look cheap. Secondly, there's the body proportions so many of the Spy Troops figures suffer from. Namely, a very short torso compared to the long legs.
It just doesn't look right.
Having said all that, I still don't think it's a bad figure, but a pretty average one. There's nothing to hate really, but nothing to love either. The detailing is adequate, with the sculpting making his outfit look like actual clothes, and while I'm not a fan of the style of camo pattern used, I am glad it's there. Also, the head sculpt looks good, though the head should have been a bit bigger. He does have that new style G.I.Joe logo on his back. You know, the one Hasbro tried using for a while instead of the classic one, but nobody seemed to like it. Yeah, it's on this figure as a permanent reminder of that failure.
And it's not even the only reminder of that failure, as you'll find out when we look at the accessories.
He comes with a pretty cool looking helmet, but it has that same G.I. Joe logo on the back of it. Ignoring my distaste for that particular logo, I don't think putting what amounts to a bullseye on the back of your head is the smartest move when it comes to increasing your odds of survival on the battlefield. He further comes with two guns, one of which is very cool looking and has been included with a bunch of figures, and a camouflage vest. More on all those accessories in the next section. Overall, the figure is pretty average. The best part about him is the cool rifle that I often give to better figures.
And that was the only figure of Red Spot ever made. That means it's time to talk about the character, starting with the file card.
And first off, there's his code name. I mean, Red Spot.
That sounds like something you should be talking to your dermatologist about. Or your sexual partner, depending on the location of the Red Spot.
But there is a reason he has that name, and it's because he's a laser trooper. So it's a reference to that laser pointer red dot you see before somebody gets shot. Okay, fair enough I guess, but it's still a pretty silly name. Then again, it's not the worst I suppose.
Poor Skidmark.
But the fact that he's a laser trooper does raise a question.
Why does this character exist at all?
The Joes already had two laser troopers that could have used new figures. Now, I can understand why they didn't want to make another Flash figure. Hell, later versions that did come out were called Sergeant Flash or Anthony Flash Gambello to avoid confusion. But what about Sci-Fi? He sure could have used a new figure. Hell, he only ever got one after the original line ended, and that came out in 2011.
I'm guessing they didn't want to use the name anymore because sci-fi is just a too generic term?
I'm basing this on the fact that the modern figure is called Seymour Sci-Fi Fine. Pulling that same, it's just a nickname trick they did with Flash. So, I guess we've answered the question of why Red Spot exists.
Hasbro just wasn't happy with the names of their previous laser troopers.
Oh, and it's not like they just slapped a new codename on an old character, like say Hawk becoming Tomahawk. No, Red Spot is very much his own person, since his real name and file card text have nothing in common with the other two laser troopers.
So let's get to that file card text, shall we?
Well, he built his first laser when he was 9, and he was really into them. But it wasn't until he got into the military when he found out what they could really do, and he's designed or modified a lot of military hardware.
Then the card goes on a weird tangent.
It says that despite all that, he's not a geek. He's social, plays softball, and goes on dates with real girls and everything. No, really, the card specifies he dates real girls.
As opposed to... you know what? Let's not even go there.
But yeah, the file card swears he's not a dork. Why do I have the feeling that whoever wrote this card might have been using the opportunity to work out some issues?
And that's about it for the file card.
Well, other than that his real name is Michael Ritchie, which may be a reference to a movie director of the same name. He directed the Fletch movies and other things, though the name could just be a coincidence.
We're not quite done yet though, as there's still 2 more things to talk about.
Namely, Spy Troops and the fact this figure came in a 2-pack. Red Spot was part of the Spy Troops line, where the gimmick was you could disguise your figures. Not that it disguises would pass muster at a kid's Halloween party, mind you, but that's irrelevant here, as he didn't even get that, he just got that camouflage vest. Yeah, that thing is the only reason you could call him part of Spy Troops.
Finally, he came with another figure.
Cobra Coils, which is unfortunate since this is an army builder, so if you wanted a bunch of them, you'd end up with a bunch of red spots. Again, consult your doctor. Now, with some earlier figures that also came in 2-packs, they'd put the reason for the pairing in the file cards. Like, I don't know, Duke hates Cobra Commander because he stole his lunch money or something. With these though, they put a blurb on the back of the packaging to explain it. The card back also lies by telling you he comes with accessories to disguise himself as a Cobra enemy. Yeah, that camouflage thing, they call it a ghillie suit, does not count for that.
Hell, the blurb directly contradicts this.
Since it says he uses it to blend into the terrain. And the whole point of it is that Cobra Coils have been sent to recon G.I.Joe ground defenses, and he has to disrupt that mission. Why you'd need a laser trooper for that, I have no idea. That reminds me, he's a laser trooper, but he comes with ordinary guns. Now, I know, this is G.I.Joe, so every gun is a potential laser gun, but still, he doesn't have a weapon that's clearly a laser. That's one hell of an oversight.
And that's pretty much it.
It's possible Red Spot appeared in some of the newer comics, but I don't really have access to those, and the internet wasn't that helpful. Though I did learn he was on the cover of one issue. It might as well have been Where's Waldo, but he's there. In conclusion, Red Spot was an average figure with an average backstory, but he swears he's not a nerd and has a girlfriend in Canada and everything.
That I've had tons of girlfriends.
Hey, they can't all be great characters like Sartan or Duke. Well, I'll see you next time, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing?
Spot, Spot, a lovable Spot. He's soft and cuddly.